Guys, welcome back to Lawson's Car Reviews. My name's Tristan, and today I have for you a update on my 2014 Volkswagen CC. So this is a vehicle now that I've owned for close to 2 years. I believe December or January, somewhere around there, will make 2 years of ownership. So I just wanted to give you my opinion of the car overall and how it's been over the last 2 years. Things that's wrong with it, things that it's great at, but I think that this will just be a good overview of the car in general. So overall, I love the design of this car. It's very sleek. It's got a very cool looking front end. It's a lot sportier looking than, say, the Volkswagen Passats, and the front of it kind of reminds me of some of the Mercedes that were out of the same time period. I'll put up a picture so that you can kind of see it. I had at one point also upgraded the wheels. I never did a video on it, but if you actually take a look, I'm going to do a side-by-side with these wheels versus the wheels that I did put on it. Overall, they were okay, but I prefer wheels that are silver so that there's a contrast. The aftermarket wheels that I got, Sparko wheels, they were the same color as the car, and I didn't quite like that. So I sold them to somebody else that had a bit more appreciation for them. But I love this design. I love the four-door coupe looking design, if that even makes sense. It's kind of like more of a sleek fastback design, but really like the look of these cars. My friend has a Volkswagen Arteon, and that is basically what this car is the predecessor of. And his car looks really good as well. He's got some aftermarket wheels on it. But most of the things on this car still work pretty darn great. It does have a few weird little quirks that I need to work out, but we're going to get to those. The rear end, see this spoiler? I just did a little trunk lid spoiler, which was one of the upgrades that I did on this vehicle. And it's just this here. Here's the funny thing with this spoiler. It's actually supposed to be a roof spoiler. So that particular spoiler was actually supposed to go on the top part of the roof here. I did install it, and there's a video of me with the roof spoiler, but I decided to reuse it and make it a trunk lid spoiler, and I actually think that it looks pretty good. It's just a tiny little kick up at the end. Gives the car slightly a little bit more of a sportier look, in my opinion. But overall, I think that looks fairly good. The lights on the car, they still work fine, as you can see. However, I've got one of the problems that I have with it at the moment are these. It says the parking lights, to check the parking lights. And these lights here do not work, so it's probably a fuse or a relay or something like that. But yeah, those have been giving me trouble. If we go ahead and open up the car, it's still super clean. So as you can see, I like to keep my car clean, especially the trunk. Fairly big trunk. It's like over 13 cubic feet big. I do have a trunk organizer in there, and even with the trunk organizer in there, I can still stack 2 full suitcases as well as a few other things. And then underneath this, it does have a spare wheel, and then, you know, the stuff to take the wheel off and whatnot. And then you do get a little first aid goodie bag here and some extra storage here that won't roll around in the trunk in case you don't have a trunk organizer. So Volkswagen does a good job of giving you some extra goodies with their stuff. The windows were already tinted when I got it, which also gives the car a pretty nice look, in my opinion. And then one thing that a lot of people don't realize is the headlights are actually those directional lights. So when you turn to the left or turn to the right, the headlights will actually tilt to give you more visibility while you're in your turn. So that is a really good feature. So moving on to the interior, these seats still look really good. They've held up well since I've had them, and I have 4 kids, so they do a good job of tearing stuff up. But overall, if you look, the leather on these seats actually still look in great shape. I can't complain about that. This armrest, it does work, does lift up. In the armrest itself, if you press here, it does open up to some cup holders. There is a button on this that one of my kids did break off. But what do you expect when you've got a 5-year-old and an 8-year-old? Some of those things are just going to happen. Now, as for the interior, this part is a little bit of a mixed bag. So it still looks good. And I think overall the interior looks pretty nice. But I will say that there are some things that are a little bit damaged on the interior. So if you look at the door, you can see that there's some bubbling on the door panel right there. I want to get that fixed because I hate the way that that looks. It needs to be flush, you know, with the door. If you look at the passenger door, that is not that way, so that is still normal. The rest of the interior actually has held up quite well. There is a seat cover that I bought. They were about $30 on eBay. And the reason for that is because this car already had a ripped seat when I bought it. I did use some leather repair stuff, but I think that the seat cover just did a better job of covering up most of the stuff. You really don't notice unless you tell someone that it's got a seat cover on it. But overall, the seat cover, it blends in well with the regular seats. I'll show you from the front angle here in just a second. But the interior is fairly good. I mean, I quite like the interior of this. I prefer the newer Volkswagen because it's got the flat bottom steering wheel instead of the round one. But, you know, we're just nitpicking at that point. And this is the seat cover that I was telling you about. So even just looking at it from here, yeah, you can see that it's a slightly different design than the regular seat, but it's not that different, and it actually looks fairly good for a cheap seat cover. It looks way better than any of the seat covers that you can get from Walmart. So definitely a plus there when it comes to, you know, interior quality. And the actual seat itself, the rip in it wasn't that bad. The reason why I chose to use seat covers is to stop it from ripping any worse, so that when it comes time for me to sell the car, I don't have to worry about getting that fixed after the fact. So let me show you some of the things that's wrong with the vehicle. So number one, you've got this thing broke off, which is one of the most common problems on these Volkswagens. You turn this around to change the mirrors, to move the position that the mirrors are in. When you do that, these things progressively get weaker, and this one popped off while my wife was driving the car. This rear view mirror has actually broken as well. So whenever you adjust it, I have to hold it up here to make sure that the whole mirror doesn't fall off. Then I have to do the adjustment. That is highly annoying. Not a huge deal because obviously it's still staying up there, but it's just another small piece that's broken. This bit, when I change gear on the car, this tends to move around. So when I move this part here, this piece is kind of loose and it moves around, and sometimes it actually lifts up when I go all the way into park. Of course it's not doing it now when I'm trying to show you, but it's well, there you see how that lifts up. So, you know, don't know what the deal is with that. Maybe it's just a little clip that broke or whatever, but it definitely is kind of loose around there. The radio and everything works perfect. The glove box is in great shape. I've got plenty of stuff that you can fit in there. Even this little middle compartment, there's plenty of items that you can fit in that section too. Then like I said, in the back of the vehicle, you've just got the armrest that I said was broke. There's supposed to be a button right here to stop that from just opening. The kids broke that part off, so that kind of is what it is. And other than that, guys, the car has actually been a really good vehicle. The gas mileage is way higher than it said. It says like 31 or 32 on the highway, 19 in the city. If I'm cruising, going just regular speeds, I can get anywhere from 35. I've had as high as 40 on a long trip, 40 miles to the gallon. So it actually gets excellent gas mileage, and you can run it on regular gas. It does make it lag a little bit when it comes to the power, but you do not have to use premium. I've only put premium in this just a few times. So if you're wondering what kind of gas, you can run it on 87. Preferred would be premium, but a nice medium would be a mid-grade level, you know, gas or petrol, whatever you want to call it. Okay, let me show you one other thing. That little lever there is to open up the hood. That is also broken. So the whole thing will come off if I'm not holding it to the left while pulling it back to open the hood. So that is something I'm probably just going to get from the scrapyard or whatever. But that is also another piece that did break on this vehicle. Bear in mind, this is a 2014, so it's 11 years old already. Everything else in this car still works pretty darn good. All of the seats work. As you can see, it's got lumbar support on this particular car. It's got lumbar support. It's got, you know, electric seats for the driver's side and the passenger side. That all works well. You've got these plastic, not plastic, but you know, weather floor mats. They're still in pretty good shape, even though I drive this all the time. Front and the back ones, and that's with my kids, you know, making everything a mess all the time. I also have got the regular cloth mats that the car came with, so I've got both. Like I said, this seat cover looks really good. I do suggest getting one, especially if you have a car with cloth seats and you've got kids. I would suggest getting these kinds of seat covers just because they just make your car look a lot nicer anyway than just having the regular cloth seats. And there's a decent amount of room in this to say it's a very sporty looking 4-seater or 5-seater sedan. There's not many sedans that look quite as sporty and coupe like as what this does, but this just does a really good job of combining luxury with economy and a sporty look and a sporty feel. Because when you're on the highway and you're at higher speeds and you get on the gas, it actually is fairly quick. You can feel not quite as good steering feel as what you get on, let's say, a Honda Civic or something like that, but it's still fairly good. You definitely get more steering feel in this car than what you do in, say, a Toyota Camry or Corolla. Toyota tend to not do as good a job with how a car feels when you're steering it as what Honda does. Honda oftentimes just does a much better job of making you feel connected with the car. If there was something that I could change on this vehicle, it would be that it was all-wheel drive instead of front-wheel drive, because when you actually get on the gas, you do get quite a bit of wheel spin if you're pulling off from a dead stop. They did make these, I believe, in all-wheel drive. I guess I'm about 80% sure on that. They definitely make the Volkswagen Arteon in all-wheel drive, and there's a two-wheel drive variant, but obviously the all-wheel drive is going to be the better option. Yes, it gets less gas mileage, but overall the safety and the driving experience, especially when it comes to wet weather or in the snow or ice, it's going to be way better in the all-wheel drive models. But you do also pay a premium in order to get that too. So, but this car's smooth. It's quiet. It's quiet on the highway. I've driven other cars. I have a Chevy Blazer review, and this car was way more quiet than what the Blazer was, and the Blazer was a 2025. So you definitely feel like this car is, I don't want to say luxury, but let's just say luxury light. It reminds me of Acura. Like, Acura isn't quite as luxurious as BMW, as Mercedes, as Cadillac or Lincoln, but it's still luxury enough to make you feel like you're in something kind of special. That's what this feels like. Bear in mind, this is a 2014, but if you drive, like I said, the new model of this, which would be the Volkswagen Arteon, they for sure feel luxurious. The dash is all digital. It's got all kinds of safety features. It's got Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. It's got all the goodies, and some. And it definitely feels like a good, solid vehicle, as well as the Arteons have got like 300 horsepower going through the front wheels, which is difficult to put down. And then, like I said, if you get the all-wheel drive model, then you can definitely put the power down with that. So, so these are very good options. I would definitely go for something like this, especially as fast as this feels. People tune these all the time and make 300 horsepower, even though it's at 200 now, but it's because it's a turbo. So it's easy to just put more boost going through the car, get a downpipe, you can get a blow-off valve, so it makes that cool turbo noise, that it's just a cool car. And the thing I like about this probably the most is you don't see them that often. Yeah, you see them around some places, but they're kind of a rare car to spot now. Too many people don't have these, and I think that that is a nice touch versus having a car that everybody has. You see a Volkswagen Corolla, you know what I mean? You have a Corolla or a Honda Civic or a Camry or an Accord, and you see those things all the time. This is one that you will not see every day, and I actually love that about this car. So, but anyway, if you got any questions, or if you're wondering about buying a car for, let's say, one of your kids or whatever, these are good, solid cars. And I have 132,000 miles on it, and it's still driving like a champ. Sorry, I'm avoiding all kinds of deer. I just passed like 5 of them. That's why I'm all over the place. But yeah, good car, solid engine. I love that 2-liter turbo. And if you got any questions, just hit me up in the comments, like the video, and subscribe to the channel. And I will see you in the next one.